it's violence. You may have heard something about this game called Palworld, and statistically speaking, you probably even played it. And lately, you likely have heard of a certain lawsuit that has been directed and escalated upon them by another company. They're a bit smaller, so you may have not heard of them. Something called, like, let's see here, the Pokémon's company?
Its name is...
They are enforcing 3 patents onto them regarding game systems for a method of a player character catching a field character, a method of riding a character that a player character owns, and utilizing characters to interact with the environment in various ways. Now, I'm no legal genius or anything, I'm just a simple bot boy. So I'd recommend watching another source for a more deeper analysis on these text vomit documents of legalese. Basically, these patents are for certain aspects of the Pokemon games, some notably done within Legends Arceus. Damage-wise, they're suing for around 10 million yen. Wait. Actually, it's only the equivalent of roughly $65,600 US. A bit shockingly low, DBH, but I'm not here to talk about that. What I discovered is that there's a truer motivation behind all this that we don't even realize. Before explaining that, I must elaborate what Palworld even is for those unaware. Palworld is an open world survival game where you find resources to build and survive while fending off the dangers of the world. Oh, and the dangers are Pokepals. To describe the game experience a bit more thoroughly, you create yourself a character with some variable designs of faces. Like, look, and I mean variable. Look at the disparity of quality, even style between some of these. The art direction doesn't even match here. This is a subject I will bring up again later. After you make your character, you mystery dungeon yourself on a beach and begin wandering. Now, this is where the gameplay style bears little resemblance to the source that everyone makes note of. In Palworld, the entire gameplay loop consists of you exploring these lands, gathering resources, and forming a base of operations. There are no trainers to fight or wild grasses to force your creatures to battle one another. This game is more like fucking Ark than any turn-based RPG I've seen. You'll be spending most of your time gathering resources to reach a more potent endgame to deal with stronger and stronger pals, and even confront some of the challenges within the world. The game itself has little story to concern itself with. Yeah, there are these notes you can read about that give you some background, as well as some pretty good bits of environmental storytelling for certain locations, along with confrontations with other people within these towers, but for the most part, it is a bit barren. In honesty, although the design behind it is simple, Palworld has some of the most satisfying gameplay experiences I've seen from this genre. It is a bit reliant on pushing your own goals, however. For my playthrough, my goal was to beat all 4 towers, so everything I did within my base was to fortify and arm myself in a way to overcome these challenges. The drive for improving felt so good, and each notable point of progress felt significant. The game does have its shortcomings and flaws, but this game executed filling a void within gamers. What the populace didn't know they wanted. Palworld succeeded in executing its audience. To talk more about this, a bit of a preface. As I have gotten older, my palette has become more and more complex. I grew up playing Nintendo games on Nintendo consoles with gems such as Mario Sunshine, Kirby Squeak Squad, Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion, Mario Kart 1 and 2, and so many others. Oh, I'll get to you one of these days. These games were beautifully made and fulfilled the adventurous desire within you that all kids tend to have. They were perfect for their time, and even within current day. As I got older, however, I had a new realization with a change in Nintendo's game design, and I realized it when Super Mario Odyssey came out. I have a bit of an unpopular opinion with Odyssey that will likely get me sent to the Barrel Crusher, but I didn't enjoy Odyssey that much.
What the? I'm losing pounds on this deal.
Everything about the game was amazing. The gameplay, the world aesthetic, the quality control, everything. Well, except for one thing. It felt too fucking easy. Like, I don't mean like, oh, Mario game too easy, baby game for babies, jungle never gang, fucking top carry. What I mean by this is the entire game felt like it wanted to reward creativity. Yet, you could get through by just, yeah. For most of the game. And I don't know if it's just me, but if I see a $20 bill on the ground and another one across the parking lot under a car surrounded by a family of raccoons trained in martial arts, Yeah, I'm gonna just grab the one. If a simple solution is offered, then I struggle to understand why I shouldn't take that if the struggling path has the same reward as smacking around a rock. To move past this point, what I'm getting at is Nintendo is still making games for the youth. Nintendo's audience is younger gamers. The Rock Moon is there to allow a wider entry of engagement for a variety of players, which is fine and beautiful, but it is definitely a noticeable shift compared to previous titles. Where the path is pretty defined for the most part with smaller variation, Mario games are not made for ongoing fans that have grown up. Focus has always been upon the youth. Now, how does this relate in any way to Palworld? Well, as we grow up, our palates shift, and our desires brighten. The media we engage with slowly matches desires and identities we have as we age. Now, look at Palworld versus Pokemon. What is the biggest difference one can see between the two? Maturity. Palworld is coated all over with violence, destruction, survival. What does one have to do to find a place for yourself within the world that's trying to end you against monsters wielding powers of the elements and darkness? Palworld is the game we have been waiting for a very, very, very long while, and we may have not even realized it. Nintendo would never make a game like Palworld. They could never turn their soft IPs into subjects to mature topics. It is not what they have based themselves to do. They make games for the youth, and are very good at it. Deep down, we have all wanted to have a mature rated Pokemon game, but we have never gotten it and would never get it. The amount of risk and image Nintendo would gamble upon a game like that, too immense for their reputation and their finances. Now, if an independent developer made the idea for this, with enough difference from the source they are imitating, now that may fill a desire from the people. Pocket Pair did something that Nintendo would never do in their right mind, and it's what the people wanted. Look at the Steam numbers. This shit sold 1 million copies within its first 8 hours. It was #1 on Steam for 2 weeks. And it became the 6th game on Steam to hit 1 million concurrent players since Steam's inception. Take a moment and just picture 1 million people doing the same thing at once. 1 million people. It even was the second fastest game to achieve this feat within 47 hours, right under Cyberpunk. So you can't say this game wasn't a success, that this wasn't what the people wanted. And like, why? Why was it so popular? What I have mentioned already. The people know what they wanted. We all wanted that mature Pokemon game for eons. We all wanted to know that fantasy of surviving using Pokemon to survive. Palworld was the game we all desired to exist, even despite its flaws. Remember what I stated earlier about that variation in art direction and quality. These are critiques that would bring a good game down to mediocre. There are palette designs that vary drastically, characters that seem to not follow the same art direction, even questionable design choices within the world, but the game was #1 for 2 weeks still. These flaws were overlooked because people wanted the style of game. People overlooked these flaws. Things that would have gotten others cancelled. Palworld executed its focus on giving that ever-growing Nintendo audience what they've desired for so long, a mature creature collecting game. And unlike Game Dev Tycoon, this one hit it big. Now, in a perfect world, we would all live peacefully enjoy this gem gifted to us by individuals who took that risk to create it. Unfortunately, though, we don't, as eventually Nintendo would file patent infringements upon Palworld. Although everyone saw this coming, I see it more thoroughly. The honesty that this lawsuit implies, the fear Nintendo feels. Nintendo feels intimidated by Palworld. Pocket Pair did what the Pokemon Company could never, and succeeded massively. Now, people theorize Nintendo is aiming for more than just some yen for this lawsuit, potentially pushing the threshold of what they can enforce legally from the patents. But it truly does showcase the fear and envy Nintendo feels for Palworld. This game that delivered a media that Pokemon would never have the Pokeballs to do, and was executed with honestly mediocrity to colossal success, is very humorous to me. All this to say, there's an important lesson to learn here, that if you have an idea for something, a thought that feels fun, go for it. I'd say keep a place for Palworld and Pocket Pair in your heart as they go through this. Currently, they have made adjustments to gameplay to address these infringements, but honestly, I still see Nintendo getting away with this, as the corporate giants continue to dwarf over the creatives. But in the end, remember to follow your heart in your creation. If something feels like your calling, follow it through to the end. You never know if you've struck a chord with others who feel the same way. Brassaton, Deactivate.